Today's video is all about winter. Hi everyone, my name is Shannon and I want to welcome you here to my channel, The Daily DIYer. I also want to thank the original Super Glue for sponsoring today's video, and I would love to know, so let me know down in the comments below, do you decorate for winter? I absolutely do, and I love to kind of decorate with some wintry things during Christmas time, so I know I have some items that then I can also keep out into the winter season after Christmas time. And today I have some really fun projects I'm going to show you how you can recreate. These are all projects that are so easy and so inexpensive too. So let's go ahead and dive right into the very first winter DIY. So I'm sure most of you already know this, but this is my most favorite adhesive. It's called Super Unix by the original Super Glue, and it is a gel-based super glue that has extreme power. And the reason I love it so much is because it works with all materials. So in today's video, I'm going to be showing you lots of different winter projects, and we're going to be using Super Unix throughout this video. It is water resistant, it is shock proof, and my most favorite part about it is that it's also odorless. And this very first project, I also have a free printable for you, so I will make sure to link that down in the description box along with the link to Super Unix. I headed into Dollar Tree and picked out a 5x7 picture frame, and that is the size of this free printable. It's already scaled down for you, but you can always alter the size too if you want it bigger or smaller. And I just cut it out and just like a regular picture, put it right into my picture frame, put the backing on it, pushed down those little tabs that were on the back, and it was just that simple. And we have a cute, there's Snowflake home framed piece of art. I also grabbed these wooden snowflakes from Dollar Tree too, and we'll be using these for several different projects in this video as well. I grabbed 3 of them, actually 4 of them, because we're going to be using another one of these in a later project, and painted those white, let them dry, and we're going to be using our Super Unix to affix them. You just dab a few dots right onto the back of this wood to affix it to the front of this plastic picture frame, because again, this product works with all different materials. It just takes about 10 seconds for it to set up, and you have a finished new piece of winter art. You all have to let me know if you have seen any snow yet this year down in the comments below. For me, I live here in the Midwest, so sometimes we get a lot of snow during the winter, sometimes we just get a little bit, and so far this year, we've only seen a few tiny little snowflakes. We'll have to see what the rest of the year holds for us. Up next, this is a super fun project. These are the cutest little plaster ornaments, and this one had a mitten in it, so I thought it'd be fun to make a little sign that said snow using that mitten. So I also have some poster stickers. You can find these over by the poster board and the foam board at Dollar Tree. The sign is also from Dollar Tree. We're gonna take the inside out, and it has these raised little plastic pieces on it that I actually really liked, but I want to use them for a different project. So I heated it up with my heat gun to remove the adhesive or loosen it up, and then took my scraper tool to pry it up. I'm gonna set this aside and use this later on for a different project. So make sure to subscribe so you can come back and see how I use this in the future. I'm laying the inside of that frame on some scrapbook paper that was just from Hobby Lobby and trimmed that down to size. We're going to replace that right back into the frame. I would love y'all to just take 1 second for me right now, pause and hit that thumbs up button for me. That helps out my channel so much, and I would so much appreciate it. This little mitten reminded me of the letter O in the word snow, except it had this hanger on the top, and plaster is pretty soft. So you take some pliers, you can break that right off, and then take a sanding block, smooth it out, and you'll never know it was there. We're gonna start adding our letters onto our signs, starting kind of backwards. We're gonna put the W on first, lay your little mitten in there as a placeholder. We'll come back to that in just a second. Then you can go ahead and also add in the S and the N. Now we're going to grab out our Super Unix to affix that mitten right onto the front of this sign. So like I said, it works with all materials. So we're applying this plaster mitten right onto the front of this scrapbook paper sign. I love when things like this come together. You can just use some really simple items from Dollar Tree to really make something really special and beautiful for your winter decor. As soon as I saw these cute oven mitts at Dollar Tree, I grabbed this snowflake one. It reminded me of a winter mitten, so that's what we're gonna make out of this one. And I just wanted to sort of keep it simple. I really like the snowflakes on the front, but we are gonna cut off that little loop off the side because it'll kind of be in our way. So easy to snip that off. And then Dollar Tree also carries these faux fur scarves. I used mine for another project previously, but these are scraps left over. And what I'm gonna do is sort of make the cuff for the top, and needed a base layer that was thicker so it would hold up underneath that fur. So this is just some stiff white felt that I gauged, kind of made a template, cut out a rectangle about the same width as the mitten, and we're going to actually glue our fur right onto this piece to make it more rigid so it will hold up. So then I just took those edges and curled them around that felt. I did use some hot glue for this just to make this kind of go a little bit more quickly. You can sew it if you want. And then what you'll do is take your Super Unix, and yep, you can use that with fabric too, to glue this little cuff right to the top. Then we're also going to glue a couple buttons off to the side, and if you'd like for this to hang either on a door or on the wall, you can also glue on a loop of ribbon onto the back like I did with mine. Add a little bit of greenery in there and you have a really nice pretty wall hanging. Now we're going to take these chipboard snowflakes from Dollar Tree and really dress them up, but they always have a little hole in them, it seems. So to remedy that, we're gonna use some spackling from Dollar Tree. I love this stuff. You just simply add a little bit right over that hole, kind of push it down in there. You're gonna let that dry completely. You'll sand it down before we can paint. But while that's drying, we're gonna take this wood plaque that is from Hobby Lobby. You can get a pack of 4 of them for only $3.49, so they're really inexpensive, even less than $1. Drill a small hole right in the middle. We're gonna add a dowel rod to that shortly. And once everything is prepped and ready to go, you can go ahead and paint everything. I love using chalk paint because it dries quickly and it also seems to stick to any surface too, and just let that all dry. Now we're going to flip our snowflake over and use our Super Unix to run a bead of glue up one of those little legs of the snowflake and then attach our dowel rod right there into there. It only takes about 10 seconds to set up. I also thought it would be really pretty to add some wax paper into those little openings, and you can get this at Dollar Tree too. I just cut down little diamond shapes that fit over those holes, ran some adhesive around the edges, and then sat the paper right on top there and did that all the way around. And it is such a simple little touch, but just the addition of that wax paper gave this snowflake even more of a frosty look. Now we're going to go ahead and put our whole piece together using Super Unix. You just squeeze a little bit right down into that hole in the plaque, and then we will set our dowel rod with our snowflake on top right down into the hole, kind of pushing it down and holding it in place for about 10 seconds so it can set up, and it is ready to go. I think these would be so cute lined up next to each other, or creating different sizes of these to kind of make a grouping. But what a simple but beautiful addition to your wintertime decor. I've had this Dollar Tree sign for quite a while, and I finally figured out the perfect way to use it. We're gonna flip this over, remove the sticker and the string off the top, and give it a coat of white chalk paint and add a decal onto the front. Now, obviously, if you don't have a vinyl machine, you can draw on your own design. You can print out a design and Mod Podge it on, or you can use a stencil. I am gonna add this beautiful decal onto the front of mine just because I don't have the most most artistic ability, so this is the way that I end up going. And what we're gonna do is we're actually gonna turn this into a hook sign. And I'll show you that in just a second. I wanted to add a little bit more detail and embellishment to this. So these are some scrap little pieces of fir needles that I had on hand using my Super Unix, and also some pine cones to dress up the front. And for that hook part, we're actually going to be using a leftover piece of a wreath hanger. I actually did a full video on how to hack these, and I'll link that at the end of this video if you want to watch that next. This is actually a leftover piece that I didn't want to throw away, and I'm glad I didn't, because it's going to come in handy to create a hook sign with this sign we just created. So I'm adding my Super Unix up the back side of that wreath hanger and setting the sign right on top. Let it sit for a few minutes so that's nice and good and secure. And then you can hang it on the wall with some sawtooth picture hangers, and then use it for gloves, scarves, or a wreath. This next one takes hardly any time at all. Dollar Tree had these glass bottles with Christmas trees in them already. So I wanted to take that tree out and make it look less Christmassy and more wintry. So what I'm gonna do is actually add some pine cones from Dollar Tree into this glass vase. I love that I already had some berries and some snow in there. It does come with a cork lid. We're gonna put some Super Unix around that, pop that back in there. That ensures that we are not gonna topple this over and get snow all over the place. And then this is an ornament from Dollar Tree. It had some greenery on the top. We're gonna cut that off and use it for the front of this bottle. I added a little bit more twine around it for some added embellishment, and then took my Super Unix to the front of the knot and added the greenery right onto the front there. Such an easy piece, and also would be so cute in your displays or even on a tiered tray. Dollar Tree is really up their game with their metal pieces, and I found this Aero, so we're gonna turn it into a fun wintertime kind of Aero sign. Again, I'm using a vinyl decal for this, but you can get letter stickers from craft stores if you wanna go that route. We're gonna apply this right onto the front of the sign, but I kinda wanted my sign, my Aero, to be pointing the other way, so I did change it around just by switching the way it was pointing with the string on top. And then I also added, with some of my Super Unix, another one of those wooden snowflakes onto the front. So simple, so quick, and so easy, and I love this little sign for wintertime. Now we're gonna grab a winter hat from Dollar Tree and one of their foam wreath forms to create a winter hat wreath. So we're simply gonna take our hat and place that right over our wreath form. We need to make the bottom square so it looks more like a hat than it does with a rounded bottom. So we're gonna take some foam board and cut that down into a rectangle to do that, and then just simply take that and place that up underneath the hat using some glue to keep it in place. Then we're going to use a faux fur scarf, again from Dollar Tree, to create the cuff of our hat. So we're going to place that on the bottom where that foam board is, wrap it around to the back side, and use a combination of a stapler and also our Super Unix to make sure our faux fur stays in place. Now we're just going to use some Super Unix on the front here, adding a bead of glue underneath the fur and then pressing that down onto the hat. That way we don't have any staples on the front. We're also going to add a little pom-pom to the top of this hat. I already had a hat that had a pom-pom on it, so I took that off and used my Super Unix to attach it to the top. But you can also make your own pom-pom out of some Dollar Tree yarn too if you don't already have one. And then last but not least, I have these beautiful rhinestone buttons that are from Walmart of all places. We're going to use our Super Unix again to place those onto the side, and that is going to add a little bit of bling to our winter hat. This is so cute just sitting on an entryway table or on a shelf, but it'd be so cute to put on a front door too in place of a wreath. Dollar Tree also has these great wooden sleds, so we're going to kind of make a little decoration for a countertop or a shelf. First thing we're going to do is just paint our sled. I also have a stick. I've actually used this stick so many times for tops of pumpkins for the fall, so I just keep using it. I'm finally using the last of it today. And also a little piece of greenery we're going to add in there too, but just painting this sled brown first. I thought it'd be cute to make this sled look like it was pulling some firewood or branches. So this stick from the yard got cut into 3 little pieces, and I thought it'd be cute to kind of make them look more like birch wood, so I painted them white. It also kind of makes them look snowy too, and it'll give a nice contrast against that wood sled. I also replaced the string on the front, and then we're going to use our Super Unix to attach not just those branches but also that greenery so that it will stay in place. This polka dot bag is from Dollar Tree. It actually comes in a set of 3. It kind of reminded me of little snowflakes. We're going to add to that. And this is a heat transfer vinyl decal that I'm going to iron on to the front of this. You can also use some fabric paint to create a design. You can order pre-made designs off of Etsy or find a friend that can create one for you. If you don't have a vinyl machine, it's just easy to iron these right on, and then they're permanent. We're also going to add some little snowflakes onto the pull strings. These again are those wood snowflakes from Dollar Tree. I love these. It came in a set of 24, so you get a lot in a little bag for only $1. So you get a lot of projects out of that one little bag. We're just using Super Unix again to attach those onto the strings. Leave me a comment down below with your favorite wintertime craft that you saw in this video. Also hit that thumbs up button. That helps out my channel so much. I'd also love for you to check out the description box with links to Super Unix and other things that I mentioned throughout this video. And I want to thank you all so much for joining me today. I will see you in the next one. Bye everyone.